This is CJNU 93.7 FM. My name is Dan Mitchell. How are you today, Evelyn?
I am well, thank you. I'm delighted to do this.
Excellent. We are so happy to have you here. We're going to get right on into it because all month long, CJNU is sharing stories from Victoria Hospital. Evelyn, can you tell me a bit about your experience at Victoria Hospital?
Well, last July, my husband came down with a very serious case of pneumonia. He's 85 years old and he's had really a blessing of good health for all of his life. So our experience with hospitals was minimal. And then, of course, he had to be admitted to the hospital, and he spent 2 weeks in the Victoria Hospital. He went in reasonably in very poor shape, very weak, lost his mobility, and was actually a bit delirious when he went in.
Oh.
And 2 weeks later, he was discharged, walking with the aid of a walker, able to look after his own physical hygiene needs. And, of course, his mind was right back to where it should be. So it was a blessing.
That's fantastic. That's an outstanding story. Now, what is it about the care that while you were there during that time at Victoria Hospital that was so meaningful to you?
I think the most important thing I would say is that the staff were incredible. I would say each and every one. We never felt like there was any anger or resentment or, why do I have to move this gentleman and why do I have to change a diaper or why do I have to... None of that. It was such care, and I'm pretty sensitive about those things. I was with my husband at his side for 2 weeks, all day until bedtime. Mm-hmm. And I just felt the beautiful thing I found was it felt like family. Some of these staffers had been there for a long time. And I kept thinking to myself, if they didn't love what they were doing and if they weren't dedicated to their patients, why would they stick around so long? Mm-hmm. But they did. And they do. And that was extremely heartwarming for me to see that. A great deal of compassion and understanding. I mean, most of the people had difficulties. That's why they were there. And they needed some pretty intensive care. It was done with such devotion, I would say. And as I say, my experience with hospitals has been very limited. But I just wish everybody could have that experience if they needed to be in a hospital.
Well, I couldn't agree with you more. And I think it's one of those situations where you'd hope that that's the case, but it isn't always the case. And it's so nice that with Victoria Hospital, that does always seem to be, they're very encouraging. They're there for everybody. They'll answer any question that you have. They'll make sure that they're around when you need them. They're just a really great facility.
That was one of the things that stood out for me, was that the staff was accessible. I could manage to get my questions answered by the nurse in charge, and certainly by the doctors when they went through on their rounds. And I needed a lot of explanation and encouragement and hope, and they were able to deliver. And I think somebody said to me just recently, maybe Victoria Hospital is one of the very best kept secrets. So maybe what you're doing is important because you're spreading the word about how wonderful that place is.
Well, we're definitely trying to do that. And I think I even have a note here that he even enjoyed the food while he was there, which is, I think, is a good thing.
I'm not proud. I'm not proud to say that because I said, what does that say for my cooking? But he was I guess he had an appetite and the food came hot and it was spicy enough for him or tasty enough. And I think there was a lot of gratitude there too. He was grateful that he was able to sit in a chair with a tray table and feed himself after the first few days. And so I think there was a lot of gratitude mixed into the tasting of the food.
That's fantastic. Now, besides that, is there one memory in particular from your time at Victoria Hospital that stands out to you?
It's hard to pick one, and it was quite a while ago, but I think I would say that I noticed that when I would take my husband out in the chair, in a wheelchair, because the weather was beautiful, so I would wheel him outside and we'd sit on the benches at the front. And some of the staff were often out there taking a break. They didn't need to talk to us. They didn't need to say hello. It was on their break. It was their time. But inevitably, some of them would come up and say, "How are you doing, Larry?" And that I felt was incredible. I mean, he was a patient. It was their job, but it went beyond that.
That's amazing. I love hearing that. And they are a really outstanding group of people, both at the hospital, at the foundation as well, which is who we are currently partnering with. And it's great to hear these stories from everyone. And just to give people a sense of if they need help, they have a place that they can go, and they'll feel very much that they're getting that help, whether or not they're the patient or the family of.
Right. I agree. It was, I would certainly tell others to, if they've had the same experience, to spread it around. And it's so important to let the staff know that they're appreciated.
So what can you tell me about that? What is this Victoria Hospital Foundation Staff Fund?
I think what it does, from what I understand, is they have monthly free coffee Fridays. They have biweekly popcorn days. They have a summer staff barbecue. There's a staff meal during the holiday season. It goes that extra mile to say that what you're doing is really important. And it's not just the paycheck that you're getting, but it's our way of saying we're a family and we care, because I'm sure sometimes they may feel that they're just taken for granted. And nobody likes to feel like that.
No.
So I think expressions of thank you, which is why I contributed to the staff support fund.
Okay.
And I've just made another donation just the other day. And I think it'll go to the same thing. Staff need to be supported in any way they can, because it's a tough job that they have. I think that fund also supports employee wellness programs. And that's important, because when they're dealing with that kind of stress day in and day out, sometimes they may need a little bit of extra help in terms of their emotional, whatever is going on with them. And this support fund makes that happen.
Perfect. Excellent. Well, thank you very much for joining me today, Evelyn. It's been an absolute treat talking with you. And yeah, I really look forward to speaking with you again sometime.
Well, I hope that you can, but not because of the same circumstances.
No.
My husband is doing well. He's just celebrated his 86th birthday, and he's moving around with his walker and with a cane, and his mind is pretty special still. So I'm very grateful, and I will always be grateful to the Victoria Hospital for
Wonderful.
making that happen.
That's outstanding. And again, next time we talk, it'll be just as a donor.
Thank you. Okay. Bye.
Have a great day. Bye-bye. A quick reminder to everyone out there that we invite our listeners to share their own Victoria Hospital stories at tellyourvicstory.ca. If you do, you can be entered to win a prize, which I think is a fantastic thing. But more importantly, we want to get your stories out there. So again, go to tellyourvicstory.ca. Let them know your own Victoria Hospital stories, and maybe next time you'll have a chance to have a conversation with us on CJNU. For CJNU 93.7 FM, I'm Dan Mitchell.